The Black Ice Chronicles Massive. This is Crazy Dee. What do I want to speak on today? I want to speak further on responsibility. You know, last time I spoke on taking responsibility for leaving black independent stores in the lurch to go shop at white department stores, white grocery stores, and defaulting on credit lines that black businesses provided for their customers, and how the black businesses provided for the community, not only providing goods but also providing services. Personal responsibility. I also spoke on how we, because we're all in the same boat, I personally didn't do it, but how we sold drugs. They provided the drugs, they provided the guns, but we went in and sold the drugs and killed each other with the guns and the drugs that they provided, and how we should take responsibility for that. And how do we begin to take responsibility? First, we have to begin to learn about more than 1554 and the beginning of slavery. We have to go back further and learn what we were doing. And then as we come forward, we start to learn about all the inventions that we've made, and so on and so forth. And then that's how we begin to take personal responsibility, because we begin to educate ourselves beyond what they teach. Because what they teach will teach you to hate yourself. They will tell you that you were only slaves and that it was better for you over here than over there, and that you never did anything. And it all has to do with them practicing eugenics. You have to go research the things that I say to make sure that they're correct, and once you research them, you will find out, and you will find out for yourself. That's taking personal responsibility so that you do not fall into the traps that they set for you to destroy your community from within, while they destroy the community from without. Also, taking personal responsibility is also speaking on situations that aren't too good, that are dismantling the black community, and let me say black institutions that developed for the purpose to sustain us and to bring us our own culture, unabridged, unadulterated. Perfect example of what I'm speaking on. Back in the summertime, my wife and I went to go see the Alvin Ailey Dance Theater. Now they call it the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater. Okay, you know, slight name change, you know, okay, you know, black people are American and we are the American story because we built this shit. Okay. So we go, and you know, we back home, because we're from Cleveland, Ohio. Back home, we used to go see Alvin Ailey, because he would come, the dance troupe would come every 2 years. And you know, for those who don't know who Alvin Ailey is, he's passed on, but his dance troupe continued on. But then the person that he turned it over to, of course, she became older and she couldn't do it, so then she turned it over to a new guy. But I'll get to that. So for people who don't know who Alvin Ailey is, look him up. And unfortunately, my opinion, now that the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater is organized under a new person, you won't quite see it the way we were blessed to see it back when we were in Cleveland. Every 2 years we would go, because they would come around the circuit every 2 years at the Palace, I believe it was, Palace Theater, downtown Cleveland, Euclid Avenue. But anyway, you always have to put a little pride in where you're from. But anyway, okay. So we go to C. We go to the large theater complex out here in Las Vegas, and we go to see the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater. So, okay. So we're watching, and they have their standard dance pieces that they do. They do this number. I'll probably put it in the link, or I'll put it across the screen once I go research it, once I look at the program again, because I'm bringing this off the top of my head of what we saw, but I'll put that across. There's a move where there's a routine that they do, which is real powerful, which shows the strength of the dancers. And they do an arm movement where they spread out and they make a design. They spread their arms out and it goes and it's all timed and real muscle strength that they do to make this arm design. It's kind of what I would feel is kind of like a representation of Egyptian, I would say. Okay, so we're sitting here watching. So what's strange about the Alvin Ailey American Dance Troupe is, before, the Alvin Ailey Dance Theater was all black people, black women and black men tearing down the modern dance that Alvin Ailey put forth. When I'm saying tearing down, I mean like they bring down the house with it. So we're sitting here. So the first routine, I noticed that they have white people in, and then when they strike the movements, the white folks, in my opinion, were not as strong in delivering the movements, and it wasn't on time. They were not on time. The black dancers were on time, but they were like off by a smidgen. Their rhythm was off. Problem. If a dancer is not able to do, because all the time white theater companies, they don't call themselves white, they're the majority, they just say they're American ballet. If what they felt, if the black person could not cut it, they did not put them in that position to do it. Some people may say it was racist. It could have been. But at the same time, if you are not able to deliver the movements the way that those particular people who do ballet, or the way the particular people who are black do modern dance, you are not supposed to be put in those positions. That is reverse affirmative action. Sometimes white folks like to use affirmative action to say that black people aren't qualified to do the job, and really affirmative action wasn't about people who weren't qualified. It was about people who were qualified getting the job, and not being told, oh, because you have one more degree than what's necessary, you're overqualified. Or if you have the degree, then they'll tell you, well, you haven't spent those many hours in the job, and so you don't get the job. So it was always some kind of game. So affirmative action was not about a quota system. It was about making sure that black people who were qualified got jobs, and it wasn't the good old boy affirmative action where they just hired their friends and family. And you will see that today in the corporate world, as well as every other place, that they will hire people who are not qualified, who look like them, who have the same color as them, and they will hire them. Now, this is part of the white code now. They will hire them and they will not be qualified. And then they will have you who are more degreed, more credentialed, train them to do what you know how to do, and then they half-ass it because they were lazy, because they did not go to school. So we see this. Now, however, reverse affirmative action is way different. It is a black person who is a minstrel, who wants to be like them, act like them, walk like them, talk like them, who has no pride. Now, this is my opinion now. Who has no pride in being black and the advancements that black people have made, all the creation of civilization. Boom, boom, boom. That's what the Alvin Ailey dance theater was about. It was showing the strength through dance and telling this story. Okay. Reverse affirmative action is pretty much giving white folks a pass. They're not as good at something, but we're going to give them because they have white privilege, and we're going to let them in. And we're going to let them do this. This is what I'm seeing with the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater right now under the tutelage of the new guy. In my opinion, to me, he is a minstrel who is bringing in white folks. And in the end, the Alvin Ailey, now listen now very closely. In the end, the Alvin Ailey Dance Theater, that is now the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater, will not even be remembered as a black formed organization, because before it's over, it'll probably be all white people dancing this shit as if Alvin Ailey was a white man. Then you won't even see his picture anymore. That's how they get rid of. You don't know how we don't know, if we don't research, how many inventions that America uses today came from us, because they'll say the name, but they won't show you a picture. That's a way of taking away the credit. You know, they'll show a picture of all their inventors, but then it'd just be a name, and you'll assume, because you saw all other pictures with the other names, that they were white inventors. And that's not true. Same thing that's going to happen to the Alvin Ailey Dance Theater, because the Alvin Ailey Dance Theater was already gentrified. It was already gentlemanly, and they're going to re-gentrify the Alvin Ailey Dance Theater, like they're re-gentrifying the black neighborhoods, the strongholds. So what was most disturbing was the closing routine. We love this closing routine. It's using Wade in the water. Wade in the water. So we're waiting for, okay, we went through, okay, they went kind of multicultural, you know, which certain things shouldn't be multicultural when they stand for something that is important to the black existence, to the furthering of black culture. It should remain black. Okay, so we wait for Wade in the water. Oh yeah, this is gonna be great. So they start out with Wade in the water, and the people who are leading with the palm leaves and the reeds are two white people. Two white people. Now, the Wade in the water was about rising up from bondage, or the bondage of slavery, to freedom. That's what it represented. That's what it should still represent. So how is it that you have two white people coming out leading this piece, when it stood for coming from out of bondage and becoming and being free? I don't understand that. And on top of that, look, they had one dancer. She was white, but she was box shaped. Is the man, he's a black man now, but like I said, in my opinion, he's a minstrel. My opinion. Is this black man that really wants to have on the white face, who thinks white supremacist, in my opinion, white supremacist racist, in my opinion. So he's got a white mentality, but he's black on the outside. He may be trying to bleach it, have that white face. Is he saying that this box-shaped white woman is the equivalency to the 5'7" to 6 foot tall, sleek, slender, built black women in the troupe? Is he saying that? And they can't even deliver the movements correctly. I know he's not saying that. I know he's not saying that. I know he couldn't be saying that, but he probably is saying that because he's got him up on the fucking stage amongst sleek, slender, built black women delivering the movements with precision while they're off. While the white folks that are up there are off. Their rhythm is off by more than half. It's a damn shame. So personal responsibility is speaking out. Just because the person is manifest as a black person doesn't mean that, and just because they may do something, they may be choreographers, they may be able to do this. They had their own dance troupe over in Europe themselves, and they may be qualified to do the job. They may be practicing reverse affirmative action, where white privilege puts people in place that are not qualified to dance in the Alvin Ailey American Dance Troupe, the Alvin Ailey Dance Theater Troupe. So, I don't know if Las Vegas gets A group or B group or C group. I don't know. But I would like to see A group. If A group is all black, I would like to see that. Some things have to stay all black, especially with what they mean. So that is a message out there to the guy that's running this shit now. I believe, my opinion, that you are a minstrel. Because why would you do that? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? So, in the end, put all this together. Go watch original videos of the Alvin Ailey Dance Theater. Then go get your ticket and then go see the new version of it and see that it is degrading down and degrading down and degrading down, just like when it went from black-owned businesses to Jewish-owned businesses to Arab to Korean, it's boom, 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 boom. It's the same thing, and it'll be degraded down. So go look at that, and then you will say, damn, is it something that we can keep for ourselves? So that's it. Put it all together. Look at it. The Black Ice Chronicles. disturbing was the closing routine. We love this closing routine. It's using weight in the water. Weight in the water.